think by now I'd know how to do all this. I apologize. Okay, we do have a quorum present. Thank you very much. Okay, we have a new thing on the agenda. Apparently, this is common to the other commissions where I don't even know where the flag is. I guess it's behind us. We're supposed to do the pledge to the flag. So I guess we all stand up and face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. And we have a new commissioner, Francesca Connolly, who needs to be sworn in. Yes.
Can you cut? Yep. Okay. I, Francesca Connolly, hereby accept the honor of serving as a member
are here to accept the honor of serving as a member
of the Cultural Arts Commission of the City of Alpharetta,
of the Cultural Arts Commission of the City of Alpharetta,
Georgia.
And in doing so,
I do solemnly swear or affirm that I shall faithfully perform the duties of Commissioner.
oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Okay, that I shall faithfully perform
I shall faithfully perform
the duties of Commissioner,
the duties of Commissioner,
that I will regularly attend meetings.
that I will regularly attend meetings.
That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And uphold the ideals of community and service.
And uphold the ideals of community and service.
That I will act and conduct business
That I will act and conduct business
in accordance with the city's code of ethics and conduct.
in code with the city's ethics.
In accordance with
the city's
code of ethics
code of ethics
and conduct.
And
that I shall support the charter
that I shall support the charter
and laws of the City of Alpharetta,
and the laws of the City of Alpharetta,
the Constitution,
and
the laws of the State of Georgia,
the laws of the State of Georgia,
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America.
of the United States of America.
So sworn
So sworn
this 27th day
this 27th day
of June 2022.
of June 2022.
Yay!
Woo.
All right. Okay, go ahead and have you sign.
Took me a little bit there.
That's okay, it was mouthful.
She has to say the initiation thing.
Awesome.
That's not really funny, is it?
Okay, thank you very much. We have next on the agenda the approval of the minutes for April 26th, and then we actually just had a workshop for May 24th, so do we actually have minutes from that one too?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was, so there are minutes from both of them?
Yes.
Okay, so it's approval for the minutes from April 26th and May 24th. Do I have a motion to accept them or any changes?
Motion to accept.
All right, Jean, second, and Melody, second. All in favor? Aye, I guess. Awesome. All right, number 5 done. Okay, old business. Well, I guess first of all, I'm supposed to ask if anybody wants to come forward and make some statements. Okay, I don't guess not. So to talk to us about the performance permits, Ken, thank you.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? Good. I have not used this before, so it's not here, though. Okay. Are you able to get it on this one, do you think?
Everybody can see it, but you just have to look up this one.
All right, and I might have to stand over this way a little bit, if you can hear me okay, just so, because I can't read it standing like right there. If you remember, I want to kind of reacclimate where we're at on the performance permit. This was our street performer application that was presented to council, and they had some concerns. I think we discussed all that at our last workshop meeting. And at the workshop meeting, we had wanted the committee to re-meet, and that was the performance. We called it a couple of names, so that's my hesitation, but it's now called the performance permit. And the committee met, and we made some changes. I emailed those changes out to the committee. They reviewed them. We've all agreed that we think this is the right direction to go, and I just wanted to review the changes and see where we're at, if we're ready to take this back to council. So I'm going to go through. I'll just read and pause for a second, and you just let me know if you have any, or I'll just keep going. You just tell me to stop if I've moved past it. And I'm going to have to stand. Can you hear me if I stand over this way? We basically downsized the overall program. It's a 6-month beta test version is what we were going to recommend. Let's try it. Let's review it, look at it, see what things we need to change at that point. It's gone from
You can just use mine.
thank you. I should have brought mine too.
And then you can just slide there.
Okay, great. We've changed it to a permit process with an online application. So it's much more of a policy kind of driven format. Plain times for the program will be through a sign-up genius. So basically somebody is approved, they've gone through a process, and now we're going to have them do a sign-up genius, and staff would just release those monthly. So that means that we control the times that people play. If the time isn't there, they're not allowed to play. We went from 10 locations to 4 permitted pocket park locations, and the reason why that's relevant, they're all parks. They're small parks, and I'll kind of review that in just a second. We've gone from no tip jars, but you can have a small sign with a QR code, like a Venmo, whatever their choice, or however they want to receive their tips. And then if they do receive a tip, we'll just tell them to put it in their pocket or something, but just no tip jars or hats. Performer identification badge will be out with a city QR code. It's a rating sign. So what we're going to ask is, if you're watching a performer and you're an attendee and just saying, I'm really enjoying this person, they're really awesome, I hope they come back, you can scan the QR code and it'll come to staff and say, we really enjoyed this performer. Now, on the other hand, if they say something that's inappropriate or something that made them upset, they may give comment that we didn't like the performer. The other thing is, we had a violation system. It was like if someone didn't clean up the area or they didn't follow through with the permit in some way, we were giving them 3 chances, and now we reduced it down to 2. So I made that a little stricter. The locations, and I know the map's a little small, but if you're familiar with, you know where Nest Cafe is? The number 1 at the very top. That is on the corner where that fountain area is. If you know where it's like an arbor, a little fountain, that's the first one. The second one is the corner of Highway 9, just right up there. Everybody's pretty familiar with that little park. The third one is behind kind of where the food truck alley takes place under the oak tree. And then the 4th location is in front of La Casa, where the other fountain and little arbor is. They're all little pocket parks. It's a good way to do a beta test, see how the public reacts, and we thought it was kind of a little bit downsized, a little bit better place to start.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Kim or about this? Terrific. Okay, so I believe our next step here is that we were trying to get this before council again. If I recall, we needed to make that decision now, hopefully move it forward, and then they could maybe get on a July meeting and then hopefully start this in the fall if they approve. So do I have a
Motion to submit to City Council.
motion to submit to City Council? We got a second? Okay. We actually have a third, so terrific. Okay, everybody in favor of sending this back to City Council? Aye. Unanimous. Awesome. Thank you. Good job, everybody. Appreciate it.
One other request on that.
Okay.
I know when we were at the council meeting, council commented that they were happy to hear this coming from the commission, and I wanted to ask if one of you or whoever would like to could be there to present, and I could be with you. But I wanted to ask if one or two of you would like to be there. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Kim, what is the date? What is the date of that council meeting?
We don't have a date yet, so we could work that out around your schedules. Would you? Sure. Okay.
I think, yeah, the more of us that can show up, it shows that we really care about this, and I think it would be very impressive, so I appreciate it. And also to contact our council reps before we get to the meeting, so they're not caught off guard, too. Okay, awesome. Thank you, everybody.
We will. We'll
We
reach
will.
out. And if you know your schedule for some upcoming dates, I'll give you some dates, some options that look good. I'll touch base about the meetings. Okay.
Perfect. Okay,
So
and then next, Kim, you might as well stand up there. It's the A sculpture.
All right. Tonight, the A sculpture was, if you remember, kind of a recap here, is that it came to the commission for us to see if we wanted to accept it as a gift. You recommended yes, you would like to accept it. We took it to council because they had to officially accept the gift. They accepted it. Now we're bringing it back to you to see where we go now. So I wanted to kind of go review a few things. I went kind of digging a little bit, and I was curious wanted to give you some visuals here, and we would like a recommendation if we're going to repaint, and that is a new painting. It would have a new look, a new design, or if we are going to re-brick and not have it anymore. So let's see. This right now is the way it looks. You can see that it's got the paint chips as we've reviewed, and we have a vendor that can go in. He thinks it will be around $7,000 to repair it. It could be as low as $5,000. A new update since we've presented to council is we have extra support in that area right now, which is wonderful. The CVB will give $2,500, and the Arts Alpharetta has offered $2,500. So the only expense for the city out of the budget would be $2,500. All of those match together to get the A up and repaired. And once it's repaired, it would become a part of the new outdoor sculpture exhibit program. And Arts Alpharetta is contracted for that. The city contracts them for that program, and they have budget funds, and that would pay for the painting. That would pay for the artist. So right now, everything is really accounted for besides the $2,500. So.
Oops, sorry, that's terrific news. Thank you. Okay, so the next step then is, and thank you for putting up the picture of it here and what it originally looked like, and unfortunately it just wasn't done quite right. So as we discussed at our last meeting at the workshop, I mean, there's pluses, of course, to it, in that it draws attention to that area. You walk out of the hotel now and you see it, and it can help the vendors there. It also is a functional piece where people sit on it, and it was actually designed to be a piece for folks to wait to go to a restaurant, and it has been featured in a couple of things. Didn't you say a magazine already or something featured it recently?
Very recently it was.
Cool. All right. So what we need now, do we have any discussion on it or any other questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was curious, and I think we brought this up before. You mentioned the ABA and Arts Alpharetta are contributing to the repair.
Yes.
Does this money come with any requirements from their part?
They have not asked for any requirements. It was just to help get the sculpture back up to where it's at, where it used to be.
The CVB?
Convention, did you say,
okay.
it's the
Yeah,
Alpharetta?
okay.
Thank you.
CVB,
I didn't
okay.
catch she said that, okay.
Okay. My CBB. Okay. So now we're going to also throw this back to council. And so do I have a motion about whether we should go ahead and say to the council we'd like to move forward with refurnishing this? Anybody want to put together a proposal? Okay.
That could vary from 3,000 probably to 10,000. Arts Alpharetta has set aside budget funds from the contract for the next outdoor sculpture exhibit, and they've set aside 7,000 for that. So that's what the target budget. We have to put out a call to artists with all the requirements for the piece, and then once they get those back, they can choose accordingly. They'll choose according to the art, but they can also choose according to budget.
So I think as we're tossing ideas out, rather than commissioning one particular artist, maybe we can toss out the idea to make a contest out of it. So we award a prize money rather than paying an artist, and it's usually a little less than straight out paying, because we don't have a budget to pay for it.
Well, I think what Kim is saying, though, is that Arts Alpharetta is going to pay for it.
All of it?
Yeah, so, but that's not a bad idea. I understand. We'll see where that goes. Thank
That
you.
was discussed for the next round. If, say, the piece is approved to stay there now, we get it up and running right now, that was discussed for the next, like, in 5 or 7 years. That was really what people want to do. But if we go through a contest and go through that process, it's just going to elongate it another 4 months or so. So
Yeah,
that was the
no, that sounds good.
concern.
Yeah. So the idea is to get this fixed up quickly, and the money is there. Okay.
Right.
And then if we hit winter, if we hit fall, then we can't do it again because it's cold outside.
Okay, any other questions? Those are great comments. Thank you, everyone. Do I have a motion on this? Okay, Alice making a motion to move forward with this project, to tell City Council we'd like to move forward with this project.
Second.
Is that acceptable, the way we're wording it?
Meaning you want to repaint.
We want to repair and repaint. So that's right. We're saying that we make a motion that we'd like to repair and repaint the sculpture. And do I have a second?
I second
Okay, and everybody in favor? All right, passed again. Okay. All right. Yes, thank you.
Can I add one thing to that? The A has brought up what needs to go to council and what doesn't need to go to council as far as approving public art. And it is the way the ordinance was written for the formation of the Cultural Arts Commission. It says that y'all review and recommend public art. Okay, so public art, any public art that we are purchasing or assuming as a city has to go back to mayor and council for approval. So, but one of the things that we've been talking about, I've talked with John Heights, who is our council representative, is that one of the things that we're going to look at is going, when y'all approve a piece of artwork, that it would maybe go to the consent agenda of the council. And so the council would approve it, but they wouldn't have to talk about each and every piece of artwork. But if a council member saw a piece that he or she wanted to talk about, they would pull it off the consent agenda and then have a conversation. So that's the direction we're going. Now, that still has to get approved by mayor and council, but I just wanted to give the commission what our thoughts are, is to try to basically expedite that process so that every piece of artwork doesn't have to be talked about for 25 or 30 minutes at the council meeting, because y'all have already done your due diligence here. So that's one of the things that we're going to be recommending to council for public art. Okay, just so unless the commission has a better idea or a better way, that's the way we're going to move forward.
Thank you, Morgan. Anybody, questions for Morgan? All right, super. All right, we are now ready to move on to new business. Hello, Lakeview. Welcome back.
And as you come forward, if you don't mind to just state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure, I'm Bennett Snyder with TPA. Address is 1776 Peachtree Road Northwest. Thank you for having us today to present 2 new sculptures for the Lakeview project. My name is Bennett Snyder with TPA. Patty Huxford with Oakhurst Signs is joining us, who is our fabricator who's worked on the first phase and is working with us on the second phase, which I'll update in a second. Jan Lorink is our designer and artist, and he is unfortunately in Italy. So he's prepared a short video presentation because I cannot do him justice, which we'll play in just a second. I did want to just give an update on the site plan that's on the screen. The office building on the left side of the page is complete, the Colonial Pipeline building, and that is kind of what the design for the signage and these sculptures has come from. The blue dots are entry signage to the development. One of those is actually constructed by Patty's team. The other is in fabrication. And then the red dots are sculptural locations that we're planning. We're installing 6, 2 of which on the left and right side are the Alpha Loop gateways that have been presented. 2, one at the amphitheater and one at the corner of Haynesbridge and Lakeview, which will kind of be the monument piece, our future. We're still designing those. The 2 subject of today, Jan's presentation, which we'll play, just to be clear, are on the top and bottom of the screen towards the right side, and at the main entry in front of the Pocket Park in our Central Green area. And like I mentioned, the office building is complete. The rest of the site is graded and the roads are being installed. So these sculptures will finally be coming to life soon. We'll be ready to install them as soon as we can get them approved. With that said, I can answer any questions after the video if we could play that. I have sound, right? Sure.
Thanks for the opportunity to introduce our 2 proposed sculptural elements that we're presenting to the city today. One is a enhancement of a utility cube labeled as 4B, and the park, Central Park Beer Garden wall labeled as 5B. What I want to talk about is the intent of the project. The project is located in the Eco District, very eclectic, kind of industrial feeling. So our approach to some of the elements, the signage, has been in that kind of vein. The signage is one of modern classical. We used limestone, steel, I-beams as some of the elements to talk about structure and balance. One of the elements that we had approved on the last presentation were the Alpha Loop gateways, which we had labeled as 6B and 7B. They have been both approved, and one of them, the 7B one, may be undertaken by the city of Alpharetta at this point. What we have as far as entry signage is we've got one in place already. The 3A is in place, 2A is under construction, and 1A is still under design. It may contain one of the sculptural pieces. What we wanted to do is to show you so far in terms of the quality that we're showing on the site, using the Indiana limestone, using the black metal painted aluminum elements, custom lanterns, eventually the directional signs, and then on the far right you see some of the details of that Alpha Loop made out of aluminum structural I-beams. That'll be a black painted element as well. What we have is we've got six locations, one of which may be undertaken by the city, which is 7B. 1B is going to wind up being at Haynes Bridge, which is going to be a sign element and a sculptural piece eventually. 2 is going to be on the Rotary. 3 is going to be near the amphitheater. 4 is what we're going to be talking about today as a utility cube, and 5 is another element that we're going to talk about near the central green area, and 6 is one that has been approved. It's the tail end of the alpha loop element that you can see on the far right. So what we're doing is on 4B, we have a location that was determined by the developer to locate utilities into a structure. And instead of just placing a pragmatic block structure in that area, we've been asked by the developer to create a sculptural event. Since you're coming down the main road and you're going to encounter this, and you'll be seeing it from the bottom of the park, which is at the top elevation from the lower level. What we did was we looked at how, first of all, we made it an equilateral concrete box. It has utilities inside. And then what we did was we looked at how we might be able to enhance that box to not be just a box, but to be an element that is sculptural in nature. What you're seeing here is some of the details that the architect and the structural engineers developed for the requirement for the utility box. In that exterior facing, what we did was we looked at kind of akin to how IMP might look at a structure in terms of the geometry. We looked at this 10 by 10, essentially a 10 by 10 cube, and developed a series of overlay pieces that would be creating, in essence, a face on 2 elevations. We were asked to keep in mind that there's an entrance door for this in the event of some repairs and maintenance that needs to be happening in here. So what we did was we worked with the engineers to make sure we don't see any of the air conditioning units, et cetera. So the basic premise is this element with a face with these ears, and the basic coloration is this charcoal black color with perforated metal. The perforated metal is kind of blocking the concrete block. The AC unit is located at the top. The structure opens up to let people into the interior of this element, and you can begin to see how the side view and how the front view with the face begins to look. What we did was we created this face with 2 eyes, a couple of nostril elements, of which there will be the drainage from the water will be coming through these nostrils in the event of a heavy rain. Otherwise, it'll be post-nasal drip. The backside will not have that same thing, but it'll look essentially the same. So the fabricator who's attending the meeting, Patty Huxford, is looking at the construction of this, and we discussed this element being clad in 4 sections as it is applied. There is lighting involved in this piece as well. What we're doing is we're lighting the eyes, we're lighting the basic outline of the face, and uplighting the ear elements. So what you're looking at here is a detail of the eye. And then at the top, we've got some perforated metal that we're uplighting from each of the corners. As you can see in the middle of that, we're going to put a uplight in that area. In the event of, if we can afford to do this during the holidays, we would love to be able to turn this thing into from a fox to a deer. And these lights on top on both elevations, and the spherical red nose for holiday time only. The second approach, the second sculpture is called the beer garden wall. So one of the pragmatic requirements is to give an axial point to the park. Another approach is that there will be vehicles coming out of the parking structure from the apartments, and the want of blocking headlights as they come in and out, as they come out of the parking structure, lighting the park. So muffling some of that headlight element but more so being kind of a sculptural event that outlines this front of this park. So what we did was we worked with the landscape architects. They developed the beer garden at the front, an event lawn towards the back, with events that will happen in through here, and probably hosted by some of these retail facilities off to the right. So what we did was we developed a element that sits on a planter. The planter is made of the same Indiana limestone that you saw earlier from our signage elements. And then there's some planting, some real planting in here, and then AstroTurf is in the lawn area, but this is actual landscape material in here. And then this barrier sculptural wall is located towards the back end of this. And it's not just a fence, it's an element that you can begin to see a little bit here of how it modulates light. And what we did here was in section, it's kind of an cruciform I-beam, 4 uprights. They meet in the middle with amber lighting elements that will be lighting in here. We may have some uplights on the structure from the planting area. And what you see from the edge, you see the Indiana limestone, the planting, and then you see the aerial view here. So it's kind of a little bit of an optical illusion the way these elements touch each other or just barely touch each other, as you can see in this direct elevation and plan view. And then you can kind of see the overall scale of it, 35 feet, 7 feet from the top of the planter. And then we're working right now with the fabricator to design these amber light elements that would be at the middle and end points of these pieces. That's it. Thank you very much. We look forward to hearing back from you and any comments or questions.
Apologies again. Jan couldn't make it. I could not do him justice there on presenting that package, but that is mostly it. I guess any questions, and happy to answer.
I would point out that none of the technical problems were his, they were all belong to the city, so he apologized for the technical problems, but really we should be apologizing for the technical problems.
Oh, I knew having to bring a video, it'd be tough, so sorry about that.
I have a question. If this is supposed to be a headlight barrier, there is enough clearance between the bottom of the horizontal bars and then the planter. Is that out of headlight range? Is it going to be fulfilling that function adequately?
Yeah, the low wall is a few feet tall, and the sculpture itself is about 7 feet tall. So it creates roughly a 10-foot screen of light from a functional standpoint, and also kind of delineates the main roadway from the central green where events will be happening. A lot of pedestrians will be, so it's to create that barrier as well.
Do you have an idea of what's going to be in the planter already to kind of block out even more of the light, I guess, on the bottom?
We haven't gotten a planning design from our landscape architect. No, we don't know what's in the planner just yet.
So can I assume that we were thinking like something tall, mixed, not grass, to kind of facilitate that? No, okay. Yeah, I saw that too.
My obvious question is, why is it called a beer garden wall?
So Jan, our artist, has started to name each part of our development. That central green has a stage on the far end, kind of a large AstroTurf area for kids to play in the middle. And then directly close to that screen is a seating area with tables, and he's named it the beer garden for now. So that won't be the official name of the sculpture.
Good. Well, overall, I'm impressed because we don't have anything like this I can think of in Alpharetta, particularly the element of an animal, I think it's just very cute.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, are you prepared to put like a bunny tail on the other end? And then the nose popped up, so yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I thought about that.
Yeah, and the piece by the amphitheater will kind of be a moment at the end of that road. That'll be one of our main sculptures in this one. Jan, obviously we had the utility structure that he called out, and we challenged him to hide that in plain sight, and with the geometry, he kind of just came up with this. I think we were all surprised to see it the first time.
So both of the utility boxes will have the animal.
So it's actually just one.
Right, so then if you go down to, I think, there's two boxes, right?
It would just be the one. If you scroll down, right at the bottom of the entry road,
Right.
at the top of that park is one structure.
What's the sculpture? Go up. Yeah, that one, the red.
This on the right,
Yeah, what is that?
where the cursor, sorry, right, or the,
It says state,
Oh,
14SB stage.
that's the beer garden, is that?
that's where
That's
what that's barrier.
There's only one kind of utility.
That's correct. It's right in the middle of the development. It's going to house things that run the cameras and things that we had to have, but it was kind of an eyesore at the main entry, so that's what we challenged Jan with cladding.
I'd like to challenge you a little bit. So as much as I like the designs, I think what we're seeing and what you've done so well already in the past is bring in something that kind of has almost an interactive part to it, right? You're walking through it, or, oh, there's an animal, something like that. So this particular structure is more just a wall. So if you can tell us a little bit more about, is this incorporated into something? Like, could you screen something on it? I don't know, but I think I'm looking for something other than a wall, something that enhances the place rather than just a headlight wall.
Right.
But maybe I'm asking for a little too much, I don't know.
Yeah, that one it's not as interactive. Obviously, the one slide on the utility, the fox, the idea would be in the holidays to turn it into a deer, which we love to have that be kind of a social media moment. The sculpture down by the amphitheater, which is where a lot of the public will be with Alpha Loop connecting and kids, but that's where we've looked at kind of something that incorporated a slide or something that kids could interact with or you could sit on and take photos at. So we've tried to kind of incorporate interaction into everything we could. This one.
I would point out that wall is the end of a green that's already going to have a lot of activity, so I'm not sure if that's a requirement there. Would it actually be distracting?
It does look like a ladder. I can see kids climbing up it.
Exactly. That's the thought I had.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That's right. So the planter is on the inside of the green space?
It's on the outside of
On
it.
the outside, okay. That makes it even more like a ladder.
So that quote-unquote beer garden, the tables will be on the inside of the park.
Outside of the park. Yeah. Well, the lights on the end do
Yeah.
make it a little bit brighter, so.
I like that too, makes them look a little like matches too.
That is, okay. Any other comments? So if we don't, then we will move to a motion to accept it, or I see Michael's nodding his head over here. Are you going to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Chantal seconds. Okay, so we have two motions to accept. Everybody who approves, raise your right hand. Any disapprovals? Okay, we're all good. I think we're 3 for 3 tonight. Awesome. All right, thank you again. Good to see you. Can't wait to see it. All right. I guess we don't have any public comments to come forward, so go ahead, Kim. Want to do Cultural Services Report?
And this will be pretty quick. We just had a ton of events, camps, May and June, very busy. So I just wanted to have fun with this and to show you some highlights. I have 1 minute video that I wanted to show, and then just kind of touch base on some of the, it's been so busy. These are just probably 1/5 of what's been going on. So if I left something out that you're connected to, I'm sorry, but I just kind of hit on a few things. We have Camp Creative, which is an all-day camp. It's a pretty big undertaking, and the kids come in. A lot of the kids, some kids love art, some kids do not. Some kids just got thrown in there and they start loving it. So we've had we've used every space in the entire art center from the front terrace. The kids, when they're there all day, they need to get some energy out. So some of the creativity is done through activities that they can move around a lot. And I know Chantel's been volunteering a lot. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about. Right.
But we pushed them through, and by the end of the week, they just loved it. They just wanted to do more, and they wanted to come back. It was a fantastic class. And in between, I think they go out and exercise and do all these fun things. But I enjoyed just being there and just learning.
Learning, yeah. You do see the kids kind of go through, when you're trying to create and you're trying to take that jump and you're getting that, you don't know what to do. You see the kids going through that in the beginning. So it's neat to see them end up on that tail end. Rock band camp, it was 4 days, the week of Memorial Day week, and the kids learned 3 songs. And it's amazing. And they practice in the black box. They go out into the front terrace, and we have a concert. And the kids have learned how to play. You don't have to know how to do an instrument before you get there. Log cabin camp, we had 3 weeks of that. So they would do some heritage learning of different, pioneer and how to do not fires, but, learn how to make things out of logs or just whatever kind of activities were related to that. This is Sound of Music. We have musical theater camp. And this is the 1-minute link. That was yeah. I didn't think about that. I didn't know. I think it's.
I have lots of videos. My daughter was in it.
Oh, she would tell, yeah.
Amazing.
It was pretty amazing. I just wanted you to see the quality. They were in the black box. These kids were amazing. The set designs they did, they spent so much work. This is, a nonprofit group, City Centers Players, and they actually are putting on this theater camp. And so they're very energetic, and they've done a wonderful, the way they engage the kids has been really wonderful. I can email it to them if we can. It's okay. This is like, thank you for doing all that. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. All right, can you flip it back to? Yay. Our art leader groups, the Alpharetta City Band and Alpharetta Symphony Orchestra, we had, the city band was with Rotary in the morning that did the Memorial Day event, and then the symphony played that night. So we had two art leader groups Memorial Day, sharing some chairs, sharing some equipment, drums and things like that, and putting on two different events in the community, free events. Paint the Town, we know that's a big deal. Arts Alpharetta puts on that event. It's their fundraising event. They did an amazing job with that. And I highlighted this year, they added on Lionheart Works, came out, and they did a plein air painting event out here by the Labor. And so, and once they did their work, they were showing their work in the studio gallery at the Art Center. So that these are some of the students painting in plein air, and actually, their work was really amazing, just sitting there. They filled every bit of that canvas, and they were not afraid to do that. It was really neat. But that's Nancy speaking in the gallery. That was the reception. And if you run into her, she worked really hard on that event, so quite amazing. Juneteenth. We had a lot of Juneteenth events here and a lot of different community groups working on that. Gathered a lot of people last year in the Black History and Celebrations Committee, and people started expressing what they were interested in. It would be like a Juneteenth event, a Father's Day Juneteenth event. It would be a spoken word, a storytelling type event. And Jean was involved in that throughout the whole process, so please speak up and share here. We had on Juneteenth, 19th, they had a Father's Day. They did a craft show during the day. They had artists, really good artists out from 1 to 6. And then they had different community groups that came out on the stage and had performances that night. And we had a little glimmer of cooler weather. It was meant to be. It was perfect. Did you want to say anything about?
Well, we did I honored fathers at the Ginger Room, and actually I honored Brandon Willis, who's building the, I guess it's like a $200 million building here, and the Asante Bradford, who was over Georgia Economic Development, and then I went over and gave some certificates to the two gentlemen who really spearheaded the Juneteenth event. And I thought I didn't want to leave them out because they worked very, very hard. So that's that.
It's a great event. This is a Juneteenth gallery exhibit and reception that we had a great turnout on the entire month. We've had more people in that gallery coming to look at the exhibit than we've had the entire year. So it's been really, really positive. I think that's it. Am I done? I think I reached the end. I'm done. So anyhow, I just wanted to show you. It's fun to kind of show some of the work that everybody's been doing. So thank you.
Well, that's terrific. Any questions for Kim? Anything coming up this month that we should know about?
We're working a lot on fall. We're working on the
Oh.
guide. I can email out. I think I put in some of my reports some of the upcoming events that you can click on, like Music Match. We'll book
Right.
those like 2 weeks out, and some of the usual things. July tends to be a little bit slower. We're doing camps, some of our other projects, and then we're preparing for fall.
All right, thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
Terrific. Good news. And I see Morgan left us, so no last-minute comments from Morgan. All right. Okay, thank you. Oops. All right, do we have any items from commission members? Anybody have anything? Awesome, okay. And so I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Yep, all right. All right, Sabine, second. And we are adjourned. Do I have to pound this? Awesome.
I just hooked her up, but here's the problem.